So here I've put together everything that I used to make the tart. 2 bowls to cut and to peel. A plate that is larger than my cast iron pan. So this plate is a glass plate. It's about 1/2 inch bigger than the cast iron pan. It's pretty straightforward cast iron pan. It is 10 inches in diameter. That's a cast iron pan, straightforward here. Some flour. The flour is just used to put on the counter so that the dough, the puff pastry, doesn't stick. The Calvados is a nice add to the sauce afterwards. It's also flat, the bottle, and I'll use it to roll out the puff pastry. Puff pastry is just pre-made. Get 2 sheets of it. We're only going to use 1 sheet. It comes frozen, so it has to thaw. Have 8 ounces in a small little jar. I know that's 8 ounces of sugar. A normal stick of butter, can be salted, doesn't matter what. Peeler, and then a nice paring knife, an Opinel, lovely, stainless steel. Then our apples, they're good size apples. Don't know exactly what is best, but I use the Fiji's, and 4 of those for a normal one. And in this one, I like to only use 3 and put in the middle apricots. These are soft, dried apricots, and I'll show you how that all works a little bit later. Okay, there you go. Okay, so the first thing I'm really going to start off is the dough. I've let it thaw out a little bit, but on the counter here, I'm going to throw a little bit of flour around and just drag my dough out and set it down in the middle here and let that sort of just set for a bit. Gonna make that round from a square. Okay, so here I'm working on the apples. I've now peeled and cored the apples, so they got a little hole in them, but they're in halves, and I'm going to slice them. The thing really, you're not, for this, you don't slice straight down. You don't slice straight down. You try to get wedges. So cutting at an angle, sort of in, and getting wedges out of this apple. So I'll pick them up, pick one up in the middle, and you'll see really sort of a triangular wedge. It's just got the moon in here, or like opening where I cut it out, and I try to cut those off. Throw all the bits back in. We're gonna just use those bits a little bit later, but just get all the sort of roundness off. These make them sort of uniform. Whoops, uniform in how much they come out. Just take that cut off. So I end up with pieces that look sort of like this, but they're all wedge shaped. Okay, so again, taking up a slice wedge like that, since it's a round pan, you'll see how that works out later. So I'm going to do that to all my apples and get them all ready. Sliced another one, just to give you another sort of idea of how this looks. Just wedges here. Again, they'll be round, and I'll spread them out and chop them up a little more here. So another idea of how these look when they're sort of chopped up. But again, they are all sort of wedge shaped. Bingo, like that. Okay? Okay, so now the fun starts. Set my oven to 6, a little bit over half. Cast iron pan on the stove top, and taking my cup of sugar and just pouring it straight in. Nothing fancy. You're going to make a caramel sauce, very basic, just sugar and butter. So I'll now let this sort of heat up. It should liquefy and go brown. I'm going to cut up my butter now to prepare to add the butter a little bit later. So it's been roughly about 2 minutes going, and you can see sort of on the sides here, it's starting to bubble up a little bit. I'm just going to spread out my sugar a little bit more, and it's now, magic's going to happen soon. So just wait a little bit. Been about 4 minutes now, roughly, and you can see certain areas where it's starting to liquefy. The sugar, the liquid sugar, is can burn you pretty good, so you have to be a little bit careful. Well, more than a little bit careful, very careful that you don't get it on you. I'm just taking a normal knife. I'm going to sort of like push this around a little bit, stir it around. I'm going to switch hands here real quick. Do this with my right hand. So it's bubbling up, and I'm just going to get this all bubbling. Whoops. That is the goal right now. Sorry. It's coming along quick now. Just want to get it all liquefied, all brown and bubbly, and then just going to take it off the heat. Let's see that. So here we go. Start to smoke a little bit. Not a big deal. So now we're pretty much there. About 5 minutes into this whole thing, and just going to swirl it around a little bit, get it nice and brown. This is sugar caramelized, browned. So it's still going to make it bubbly. I'm going to wait until it really bubbles good. So, good enough. Just going to shut this guy down and pull it off to the side here. Okay. I got my butter. I've taken off 1/8 of it and chopped it into little quarters. Now, you could wait until it gets a little cooler, but I'm just right away to film this. Going to set these in. Thing is to put the butter away from you so it doesn't splatter on you. So you're putting it in the side away from you and letting it fall in. Just going to put the butter in here and let it do its trick here. It's all the butter, 7/8 of a stick, and going to stir that around a little bit here. Just melt all the butter good. In a normal caramel sauce, you would add condensed milk, sort of makes it thicker, but for this we're going real simple, just the butter and the sugar. I don't know if the real recipe does differently. I think it just does this. Go to YouTube, you can figure out how other people do it. You need to, and gonna more or less call this good and just let this cool down. Cool down. Gonna add the apples next. So it's got to cool down. Well, maybe I should go over to the dough. Just gonna let that sit here. I've got the dough over here. It's square. Gotta make it round. So I'm gonna take the corners and push them in somewhat. Push them in, flatten them, push it around a little bit. Let's see here, and then take my trusty Calvados and make it around, sort of going from the middle, pushing it out, and see how this sort of works its way around a little bit. Looking pretty good, actually. And then the plate just has to fit on top of it. And we're good to go. Take our Opinel and just going to go around it. Doesn't have to be anything special. Doing it left-handed, in fact. Switching. And there we go. Boom. Have our round dough to put on the top. Simple enough. Put that to the side. Whoops. To the side. And we're done with that. Okay. Going to prepare the apples, or just get that next. So the pan is cooled down, or the caramel, a little bit enough. Now I've got my apples here. And I'm going to take the wedge shape and just set it down into there. And always put the thicker wedge piece towards the back. And just going to build this up around here. Randomly taking wedge pieces and putting them in. Again, the thick piece going in, and just gonna fill this up. So I'll stop it and show you as it progresses. Okay, so I've filled up now the pan with just the larger pieces. Now I'm going to do some infill with my leftovers and just fill it up through the top, and I'll show another picture when I'm done with that. Here's my cat. This is Jane. Jane meows a little bit, but she's helped me out. So I should get the other cat in too. Make a picture of that. Anyways, so this is how it looks with all the big pieces in. What I got left over is just little bits, and the little bits going here as well. I'm just going to fill that in here. Okay, so basically used all the apples, don't matter, and got it all in there. Now I have a hole in the middle, so I'm going to get my apricots, and we're going to fill up the hole in the middle with apricots. Just sort of plop them in there, and I'll give you a final picture in a minute. So this is how we're looking at this point. All the apples on the outside, apricots in the middle. Now I'm just going to grab the dough and throw it on top here. So here we go. Going to grab a little bit with the camera. And boom, it goes on. And sort of get it in there. And the next thing is to take the knife and sort of tuck it in. Tuck it in the edges here. I'm just going to do that and show you the last bit. Okay. So tuck down the dough around the outsides there. And now I'm just going to cut some air holes in here. Boom. 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 Oops. Sorry about that. So it looks sort of like that. Not a big deal. Preheated the oven to 350, and it's going in for 40 minutes. Right in we go. And there we go. Show you a little bit later how it's looking. Okay, so we got about 12 minutes to go, so it's been like 28 minutes in there. And this is basically how it looks. Sort of wine on the top. Well, we can still go that next couple 10 minutes or so. Okay. Okay, we got our 40 minutes now up, and this is how it's looking. And just gonna pull it out. It's looking really nice. Gonna grab a thing here and pull it out. Set it on top here. And that's what the semi-finished product is as far as baking goes. Okay, so it's cooled off a little bit, well, quite a bit, and the dough's sunk down. And I'm just going around the edges and loosening this up, and going to drain off most of the juice. And Marie, my lovely wife, is going to help me film. Okay, so Marie's filming, and I'm going to just drain off a lot of this juice and keep it from sliding out. So got most of it out. Okay, and now this is the finale. Glass on top. Okay, over the sink, and A little shakeroo, and voila. There's our tart. Clean it up a little bit, poke it around. Okay, so that's good. So here's the finished product. Cleaned it up a little bit, and Marie has added some calvados to some cream and a little sugar, and gonna cut a piece and have you take a look at it or see it. Okay, whatever. Add some of the juice on top here. There's a little calvados in there as well, you know. More calvados the better, and the cream. Putting that on there. Look at that. Wow. Wow. It's just amazing. And we gotta have a taste test. Okay, so that's how we're looking so far.
I can't wait.
Yeah, that was Hannah saying she can't wait. So, okay, so one bite here. A little bit of, oh, look at that. Wow. Wow. Calvados really does it. Really, a little bit of the apricot as well. So, stunning. Okay, there you go. That's how to make a tarte tatin with cream. Okay, enough said. Okay, bye-bye. Here's the other cat here.
No.
Yeah. There's Mabel. Huh, Mabel? Mabel and Jane down the bottom there. They want to go outside for a bit. We'll let them outside later. Okay.